Welcome to the fourth video covering the creating a content management system using MySQL and PHP. So this is going to look at adding a new record. So in terms of the CRUDing, we're talking about the creating, we're talking about the inserting of a new record into our database. So currently in our content management system, the last thing that we did was the edit. But what we're going to now do is build the add. So adding a new record is going to be relatively straightforward. We click on add film, it's going to take us to this form here. So this is this insert PHP page, which consists of a HTML form. It's got the likes of film name, film image, film price. There is all those named fields within the form. The form is going to be posted, and it's going to be posted to this address here. So that data in terms of name value pairs is going to go in the HTTP headers to this file to then insert them into our database. There's one little thing in the PDF to do here, which is just to make the appearance of the film review a little bit easier. So I just thought to introduce this idea of being able to loop round to generate content. So this loop here is going to loop round, and it's going to generate radio buttons for each of the 6 possible scores from 0 to 5 of the star rating for the film. So let's show you where that's going to go. We place that inside of where it's hinted at there. So I'll just place that inside of there. Just needs formatted a little bit nicer, so obviously we don't need another PHP set. And then we've got a for loop that's going to generate a div with a label, and then we have the input tag itself, the radio button, so only one of these can be selected at any given time because they've all got the same name. Make sure you get rid of that silly character which is just in the PDF to indicate it should all be on one line, and always nice. Well, certainly I prefer to put the curly brace on a separate line like so. So now we've got a nice little for loop going on there. What we should be able to do is, if we have a look at that on the server, so there's a series of radio buttons. They've all got the same name, they're just generated by a loop. So this information is going to be posted. So have a look at the video on post and get to see how that's done, because we're going to use the HTTP headers to post this. That's the method of post from the form. Let's go to this file here, process insert record. Now this is going to be very, very similar to the one that we created in the previous movie on editing a record. So you might find using that file, having that file around helpful in this instance. But obviously in this scenario, what we want to do is we want to insert a new record. So this is the kind of SQL statement we want to run. We want to say insert into movies, our table, and then list the fields that we want inserted, and then list the values. And as with the edit, we'll be using a prepare statement in order to do this. One thing to notice is that the underlying table for this, which was set up earlier, the film ID, which is the primary key for our table, is set to auto increment. So we don't need to send the film ID through to our table. It's automatically going to increment that value for us so that the primary key is managed by the system. Okay, so opening up insert record, then it's going to be very, very similar to what we saw in edit record. So we need to load our connection and functions in. Then we're going to, so that's our connection to the database, that's our helper functions to help with sanitization and validation of the data, which is what we're going to do next. So have a look at the previous movie, the first movie in this series, which talked about that. And what we need is to say we're going to have the film name, description, image, price, but no need for a film ID because that's coming from, that's auto incremented because we're adding a new record, we're not editing one. So those will come in, so those helper functions have been loaded in. So we're going to be checking that we've got an integer, checking we've got a string, checking we've got a float, in each of these cases and storing them in these safe variables. So the S for safe, safe film price, safe film review, etc. And then we're going to run a SQL. We want to generate an SQL statement. So our SQL statement is, we want it to look like something like this. So I'm just going to say insert into movies with all the relevant fields. Now let me just space this out a little bit nicer, because it's quite happy for me to put quite a lot of liberal white space in here. And we're going to have to tweak this to actually match our real values, because that's kind of what we want it to look like. But we're going to load in film name, film description. We've then got film image, comma. Then we've got film price, which was there. And then we've got film review. So I'm not doing all the fields here, just those few. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then their values are going to be the placeholders for our prepare statement. So we could just be lazy, actually lift all of that there, because our placeholders will use exactly the same names. So we're going to have a placeholder for film name, film description, film image, film price, film review. So I'm sticking the colons in front of these to indicate that these are placeholders. Right, let's get those nicely lined up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we've got all our placeholders set up now in our SQL statement. So we now can actually put together a prepare statement. So as in the edit example, what we'll do is we'll create a PHP data object statement, and we'll prepare that SQL with these placeholders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 placeholders, with a view to then binding in the parameters next. So to bind the parameters in, we can piggyback off the edit example. So we've got in our statement, we'll call the bind param method. We'll look for this placeholder of film name, and we'll bind in this value, which is this sanitized string up here, and we'll bind that in as a string into here. Okay, and then we'll repeat that. So we'll do the same for film description, and then we'll do the same for, so that's film description is our safe string from there. It's going into that placeholder in the SQL. I'll repeat that for image, price and review. And notice we don't need the film ID in this instance because it's auto incremented. So we've got film review, film price, film image, film description, film name. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 placeholders, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bound parameters. Great. And once it's done all of that, we can then execute that query to run it. And then finally, we'll redirect back using header location back to the CMS page. Okay, right, so let's give that a little test. So we'll add a new film. So let's say my test film. We'll just say my test. We haven't got an image uploader in this example, so I'm just putting the name of a file that would need move into the file server, and then film description, some description here, and then we'll give this a rating of 1. It's not very good, and then we'll add it. Okay, so if we scroll down, has that gone in? Let's have a look. Should be the last in the list. There's my test film, so I can view that. So if I haven't got the image, but see that the data has gone in. We didn't do the release date, but the basics of the data has gone in, and we could be editing it to adding to change that information. We'd already set that up in the previous example. Now let's just show you, while we've got this here, what this is giving us, this save string feature here, because let's just say that for now we duplicate this underneath, and I'll just comment that version out, and I'm going to remove the save string function. So basically this is no longer safe. So let's change it and just make it film description, and then that value is what I'll use down here to be bound in. So this is no longer being run through safe string. So what's going to happen in this scenario then? So if I now go and I add a new film, so this is my second test film, we'll just put test JPEG, 199. So what I'm interested in testing here is that given this is no longer safe, it isn't sanitized, I could stick some JavaScript in here, like so, which my safe string would have ordinarily removed. So let's put that in and add that in. So that's gone in, and there's my new film, and when I look at that, you'll see it will trigger this JavaScript. So in my database there is actually some JavaScript being added. Let's just show you, I'll log into here quickly. I've got a little local copy running. So here is my database, and you can see there that the JavaScript has gone in. Now that's what the save string method would prevent from happening, because it would sanitize that, it would strip those tags such that it would automatically remove those. So it would just look like that. So it gets sanitized so that it wouldn't cause that JavaScript to run. And in this example, the alert, JavaScript alert, is a little bit of fun. It's nothing particularly malicious, but you don't want users from you don't want people to be able to put JavaScript into your database, because they may be doing something much more malicious than that. So that's what this was designed to do. So let's switch this back. Let's get rid of that one, and let's switch this back to safe film, and that would make it nice and safe again, as you it would now sanitize that data.